Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 248 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media. And we are fresh off the All Star break, so this guy is well rested. He hasn't been talking to anybody. He's been locked in a closet for like 4 days, so he is rearing to go. That would be from my Cleveland Guardians, the one and only Austin Hedges, who is wearing a UCLA football jersey because I'm assuming he's been playing college football 25 nonstop. Is that accurate?
Nonstop. And UCLA is so bad. It's not a fun team to play with. If you play against Ohio State, it doesn't go well.
So what have you been doing? Because both of my sons have been partaking in this. Where do you sit right now?
Probably the best to ever play. Just a natural. It's God-given. No, honestly, it's tough. I'm a big Madden guy, so I love any type of football game. So it was like, everyone's been dying for this NCAA game to come out for years. And I think they did a hell of a job. It's fun. There's so many different games to play, but I'm in.
Now, some of us actually had to work during the All-Star break, so I haven't watched a ton. All I hear from Brady, who's our younger son, that he started out as a coach at Arkansas State, and then he had a job offer from somewhere else, and he was deciding whether or not to move on. So he actually texted Vinny Pasquantino, who's been playing this the entire time during the All-Star break. Good husband, by the way. Good job, Vinny. And he was like, no, I would stay at Arkansas State. And then, so where are you? Are you coaching a team?
No, I'm not as into those types of game modes. I just like to play. I'm on offense or I'm on defense. My play versus your play. Best man wins. Here we go. So they have some versions like that. And then there's the other ones that got like the ultimate team thing, but then you pretty much got to put money in there unless you're going to play 18 hours a day. Otherwise your team's just going to suck, and no one likes sucking at video games.
Are you playing against teammates, or do you just play against the computer? Do you play against strangers? What is it?
I'll either play against my buddies at home, or I'll play online against random people that I'm just trying to take their souls every single day.
How much shit talking is going on?
I don't do it. I keep my my PlayStation mic on mute just so I don't get canceled, because things will just slip out, and I might say something, and then So I usually try and wait until like I know I'm gonna win, and then I might just like casually remind them that they should probably hit practice mode a little longer.
Have you ever played a video game and had somebody realize who you are?
No. I think my handles on when I had an Xbox and now PlayStation are all random. And I actually, I recently got a PlayStation in spring training, and I switched my handle to some type of hog something. But my old handle on Xbox used to be Mr. Burger King, so I don't think anybody was going to try and I don't think anybody was going to catch on to that one.
Why is that? Are you a big Whopper fan, or what is it?
No, well, so my rookie year, I had like kind of weird long hair, and I had a really big thick beard, and one of my teammates, Andrew Kashner, said I looked like the Burger King guy from the commercials. I mean, honestly, bro, I'm not sure if you were still on Intentional Talk when I went on there. Were you still on in 2015?
Yeah. How long ago do you think they got rid of me? I was there through 2020.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. You're like 65 years old. You've been doing it for a long time, Rosey.
It's very kind of you.
You're welcome. So then I was probably on with you, bro. They dressed me up as the Burger King guy. I was at City Fields my rookie year. Of course, you don't remember. It's all right. I'll remember it. But yeah, that was the thing. I went on the show. Like, it kind of became a little bit of a thing. I was like, all right, I'm just the Burger King.
It had to have been a day where I was not there, because I would have clearly remembered that one. Clearly.
Right. I think we're gonna need to fact check this. We're gonna need to find out. There has to be some footage of it somewhere, right?
I will, absolutely. Rob will be all over it. I will find out where I was that day. It's possible I was shooting BattleBots or something else when I used to be famous. Who knows?
Oh, because Austin Hedges was on his rookie year and he wasn't famous enough for Chris Rose.
That had nothing to. Yeah, probably that's it.
Probably, yeah, that's fair.
That's probably
fair.
So is this really like all you did during the break? Did you fly back to California? What did you do?
No. Me and my buddies, we stayed in Tampa. We finished up the break in Tampa, so we stayed there, got an Airbnb, just chilled, treated it like a little tropical vacation, and then headed back yesterday. Got to the airport around 10 p.m. I'm sorry, 10 a.m. On Wednesday. Got back to Cleveland at about 2 a.m. Just sitting through delays. So my third day of my All-Star break was at an airport or two airports.
That sucks.
Awful. It was awful.
What? Why don't we fly private, bro?
I lost about half my money recently, so I gotta move forward.
Southwest B-17.
Southwest, baby. Southwest. Business class Southwest, okay? A priority group, okay?
Hey, you get a free drink out of it.
You get a drink. That's all that matters.
Oh, my God. So Plouffe and I were talking on yesterday's Baseball Today. We're taping this on a Friday, by the way, for everyone. What guys do with their break. So you stayed in Tampa. Like, the last thing you want to do really is get on a plane and try and rush through some sort of vacation. Do you feel recharged after, 48 hours where you don't have to think baseball?
Yeah, it's usually after the first couple of days, just because during the year we get one day off at a time. And that usually honestly does the trick. One day off, and then you're kind of dying to be back with the boys, back on the grind. Around the All-Star break is usually where, that wear and tear hits a little bit more of that mental fatigue. And it's like, okay, I just want to shut her down for a few days. Usually after 48 hours, it's like, all right, I think we can go back. I think it's time, especially when you're winning ball games, especially when you have such a good group like we do. Like, I'll be honest, I miss the boys. I can't wait to go in today and, see the boys and, keep this thing rolling.
So, it was a really interesting break for Cleveland fans, and I imagine Cleveland Guardians players, because a quarter of your team almost was at the All-Star game participating. Did you watch A, Jose Ramirez in the home run derby, and B, the game itself so you could see your guys?
I did. Yeah, I made sure I got to watch. I mean, especially the derby, had to support Jose. He told me he was going to hit 20 home runs. He said that was his goal. It wasn't even necessarily to win it because it was going to be exhausting. And you know what? He went out and he hit 20 homers. Actually, he hit 21 just to show off a little bit. My God, he's so good. And see, all the boys look so good in the All-Star game. David Fry getting a clutch, RBI 2-out single. And then Clase coming in to close the game out, like just being the best pitcher in the world that he is. I was so excited for all of them. They all looked like they were having a blast, and they won because, the guards were about half the team, and that's what the guards do. They win.
What is it like when you're watching a teammate in an All-Star game on TV? I mean, you're there in the grind with them on, for 162 games in a dugout. Do you get nervous? Do you get excited? What is it?
Oh, so nervous, man. I get so nervous. I get that like, that brother, dad feeling that I would assume, that like, the parents and siblings are always so much more, they're nervous watching you play because, they care so much and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's so funny. Like, I feel like I'm watching David Fry on the TV, and it's like, when you're watching a guy on TV, it's like, they're like status raises. And it's like, oh my God, like, dude, that's David Fry on the TV right now. And then like, I'm gonna go into the clubhouse later and be like, what's up, idiot? And like back to like normal stuff. But like, he's on the TV. I'm like, I get it. Like, there's that like starstruck thing is like, it's such a big moment. Like, it kind of brings you back to watching all your favorite players growing up in All-Star games. You're like, oh, I know that guy. Like, I know that actual human who, who's just a normal dude who just happens to be one of the best in the world at baseball. It's awesome.
All right, I need your thoughts on this because we went to the Home Run Derby as a group at John Boy Media, and it's always a fun event. Listen, out of all the All-Star events, the only thing that comes close to it is the NBA three-point shooting. That's the only thing. But still, it feels like, obviously, without the big names of Shohei and Judge and a Harper and a Soto, that something's going to be missing. I thought the league missed a huge opportunity. As much as I love Jose Ramirez, I would rather have seen Josh Naylor because of the way his home runs are so majestic. I think his hair flying all over. I love like the intensity he brings into the batter's box. I thought that they should have had him in the home run derby. Did they miss?
No, I mean, you don't miss on putting Jose Ramirez in anything, that's for sure. But Josh is special in the home run derby. That being said, I think his first All-Star game, like the way the season's going right now, I think he's so locked in on winning and trying to win a World Series that and he's so humble. It's so funny. Like he doesn't want any accolades, doesn't want any of that stuff. So like when it comes down to like home run derby, all-star game stuff, like that guy's mind is on one thing, and that's winning ball games. So maybe in another year, like after we get a ring, I think Josh will be able to have some fun and go out and probably win a home run derby one year.
Got it. Did you see all of their fits from the red carpet?
I did. Okay. I thought they all looked so handsome. The wives looked beautiful. It was they showed out. I was impressed. All those guys don't necessarily. Hosey does, but all the other guys don't necessarily dress up that much. Actually, Nails does. Nails dresses to the nines every day. Look at him. Look how good he looks. But I thought David looked great, and Classe and Steve. Dave looked so perfect for Texas. Just classic Texas boy right there. Look at that. What a stud.
Did you see Kwan? I thought was the most surprised. Look at this.
Oh, I know. Was he wearing Dolce and Gabbana glasses?
Dude, it might be. I mean,
they're either Dolce and Gabbana or Gucci. I can't tell, but I'm so impressed that he went designer right there. That's my boy Steve growing up. He also thought I was crazy. I told him for a week straight, I was like, are you going to swing at the first pitch of the game and you're hitting leadoff? He's like, I'm not hitting leadoff. I was like, buddy, you're hitting leadoff in the All-Star game. And then, like, obviously, Bruce Bochy, arguably the best manager of all time, was like, we're going to win this ball game. Who do we want hitting leadoff? Steven Kwan. What happens? Win the ball game.
So my question is with Kwan, he's not even arbitration eligible yet. Does he rent those glasses? There's no way he's buying those, right?
That's a great question. I'm going to ask him. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Jose didn't just have like, hey, which one of my pair of sunglasses do you want? It might have just offered them a little bit. They might have been Josh's too. Josh kind of wears some sunglasses like that. So they could have been gifted. But, my guy Steve might have, pimped it out a little bit for the All-Star game. Might have just splurged just a little bit.
I loved Naylor's look. He and his fiancée looked stunning. But I can tell you, from having spent 72 hours in that oppressive Texas heat, there's no way you could have gotten me in that outfit. No way. I would have been pouring sweat, and I know you would have sweated your ass off too.
Well, no doubt. I mean, when we have to wear gray jerseys this season, I go through 9 of them. I'm out there wearing 50 shades of gray with like 9 different. Like I can't match anything. I look like an idiot out there. So yeah, like I would have sweat through it, but you got to look good. You got to make sure those pictures look good, and they killed it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I did see you sweat. I forget where it was.
Everywhere.
Recently.
It was a baseball game. I was sweating, dude. I always get mad at Bo Naylor, because whenever he catches a day game, he always wears the blue jerseys. For whatever reason, the blue jersey is when Bo catches. And I'm like, you look so handsome in this blue. I'm out here wearing gray. And everyone's like, look at how sweaty that guy is. That guy looks terrible. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm catching day game. Here we go. Gray jersey. Meanwhile, Bo gets to look all good in his blue. It's unbelievable.
How many jerseys do you go through in a day road game?
Minimum 4. Probably 5 or 6, depending on it. Usually a couple pairs of pants. There was one game, I forget where we were, but I did full uni change pre-game. I went and caught the bullpen. Was like, I haven't even started yet. All right, full fit change. Back in. Yeah.
Did you have time to shower?
No time to shower. No time to shower. But you can pay attention to this. If I'm ever catching, honestly, as long as it's just hot out, if I'm ever catching on the road with the gray jersey, just notice each inning what color that jersey is, and you'll be able to notice, like, oh, there's a new one. Here we go. Oh, I think it's time for a switch, Austin. That's getting a little sloppy. And then I'll probably switch and back to it. But then sometimes, maybe I'm leading off the next inning. That's a bad situation, because then can't switch it out. Then I look sloppy.
So what about your sliders? Do you switch those out?
No. Honestly, most of it's for, I also get really sweaty hands. And so I need something to be able to dry my hands off. So I got a little grip, because catchers can't use spider tack anymore. I don't know if you knew that. We're not allowed to get more ride on our throws anymore.
Sucks.
So since they took that away, like I need to have a dry jersey and dry pants to wipe my hands off. So I get a little panicky when I'm all just soaking wet and there's nothing I can do about it.
Got it. Hey, John Boy Media and iHeart Podcast have teamed up. So what I mean? I mean that two of your favorite John Boy Media shows can now be found over at the Dan Patrick Show, in addition to where you already watch or listen. That's right. You got Wake and Jake and Jimmy's Three Things. They have joined the iHeart Podcast and the Dan Patrick Show family. And the best part, they will still continue to be the very same shows that you know and love. If you can't tell, we love it around here, right? Dan Patrick is one of the iconic voices in the history of sports media. We are super excited about this one. We couldn't do cool stuff like this if it wasn't for all of your support. We know you got a lot of choices, so thank you very much. You were probably the biggest reason why Cleveland was able to have two starters in the American League starting lineup. It's always fun once the final pairings are announced. You know, they narrow the starters down to two at each position, and the Guardians and Austin Hedges production came out with arguably the greatest promo ever. For those of you that didn't see it, here we go.
Well, the only thing better than this outfit I'm wearing right now is Jose Ramirez at baseball. Okay? It's the heart and soul of our team. He deserves a start in the All-Star game. You like someone who covers more ground than these chaps cover my butt? That's Steven Kwan for you, starting left fielder, 2024 All-Star game.
Oh, boy. Well, I suppose the good news is they finally made an appearance.
They did. They had to Photoshop the assless part. Once again, Mama Hedges probably wouldn't have been super proud if I was just showing the world that. But hats off to the to the Guards production crew. They came up with the idea, and obviously something worked, right? We got a couple guys in there.
So hold on, you didn't go to them with the idea?
No, they came to me. They said, "Hey, man, we got an idea, trying to get some of the guys into the All-Star game." And I was like, "Absolutely, whatever you guys got, I'll go do something to try and get these guys some votes." And it was their idea for the assless chaps, and it was kind of just like, "All right, go for it." And that was kind of what I just kind of a little ad lib right on the spot.
There were a lot of people that thought that was your real blurred out ass.
I'm sure. I mean, I probably would do it once again, but I love my mother, and I don't want her to get mad at me.
We did talk to Steven Kwan before the All-Star game, but after that promo came out, and he said, I said, boy, Hedgie probably really has a real hairy ass, too. He's like, yeah. Yeah. It is out there. So we would have had to shave that thing down if it had.
I don't have a hairy ass. I actually don't.
Really?
No, not a single hair in my butt. Not a single one. That's such a terrible thing for him to say. He told the universe that I have hairy front, no hairy back. Backside, great. It's God-given. But front side, very hairy. Lots of hair going on. Backside, none. And I'm probably going to have to drown Steven in the cold tub when I get to the field today.
Don't tell him where you got the information from.
Oh, it's your fault.
What you have to do is you'll have to say, "Hey, I watched your episode of the Rose Rotation, and you said I have a hairy ass."
That's the terrible thing. I will take a picture, and no, I won't. I won't do that. But I mean, now people I kind of feel like I sound like I'm making it up right now. Like, I don't know.
It does sound a little bit like
doesn't
that.
It? Like, I feel defensive right now.
You do.
But I'm not. I promise.
I would ask you to prove it, but I don't think that's going to do either of us any good.
It might. It might. No, maybe another time. Maybe on your next show when you go a little bit more X-rated.
Rose Rotation After Dark?
That's it. I'll be your co-host for that one.
Chicka, chicka, bow, wow. It's really good. It is excellent. All right, so the Guardian season has been phenomenal. At this point, best record in the American League, to the shock of many, including even some diehard Guardian fans that may be on this. I am curious, though. You had probably the toughest week of the season prior to the All-Star break. Lost 3 of 4 in Detroit, then lost a series in Tampa Bay. How do you, as a leader of a very, very young team, keep it so that it's like this, like even keel, instead of guys starting to panic a little?
Well, I mean, the beauty of our sport, and really the beauty of life, is every day is a new day. That sounds cliche, but when you show up to the field and you think about, okay, what's happened yesterday, what happened the week before, what's about to happen, it just really all doesn't matter. There's no point of even thinking about it or talking about it. So it's like, all right, what are we have to win today. So what are we going to do? How are we going to win today? And really only think about it. Like, there's no point of discussing and breaking down unless there's something like obvious of like why we're not playing well. But at the same time, like, okay, you're not hitting well. Like, okay, well, what's the message? Like, hit better, swing at better pitches, do more damage. It's like, duh. It's like, now go have that conversation when the guy's actually in the batter's box. Like, it's almost a waste of time to talk about like obvious things. Like, duh, you got to hit more. You got to, you got to pitch better. You got to throw more strikes. You got to run the bases smarter. Like, of course, it's all obvious. Every big leaguer knows that. The only thing you can actually do is like be like, okay, like, what are we actually going to do today that's like tangible that we can talk about to make sure we win today? Because we have to win today. I don't care about tomorrow. I don't care about yesterday. Today, we have to win today. Like today, we're playing the San Diego Padres. We have to beat them today. Yeah, we want to win the series, but we have to beat them today first. So it's like, how are we going to obsess from the second we get to the field for the 6 hours leading up to the game, obsess with how we're going to beat this team? So by the time it's time to go play, it's like, all right, like energy levels there, focus is there. Now we're just going to go be us. And maybe you go lose. So what? Move on, do the exact same thing tomorrow. It sucks. It's kind of like redundant. You say a lot of the same things. You do a lot of the same things. Now it's just kind of about like saying and doing the same things in a slightly different way to make it kind of fresh. But just so you can obsess over winning today. Just win the game today. And then one of the reasons we've been good is because we do that. And then also we know that that's the same game plan in the playoffs. So when we get to the playoffs, there's not this, how's it been going? We got to win this round. Then we got to get to this round and get to the World Series. No. We have to win today. We just have to win today. What are we going to do to win today? And then rinse and repeat. And you know what? It's going to be freaking exhausting. Exhausting. That's one of the reasons why I think we struggled going into the break. I think we were tired because it's freaking exhausting to care that much every single day. And, now it's on us to like look each other in the eyes and, hold each other accountable. Be like, it's going to be even more exhausting, but like we signed up for this. Let's go be exhausted in November through January. But like, let's do it anyways. So that's kind of like where we're at.
I think part of the reason that people might be surprised about the Guardians is because the starting pitching, it's been a test, right? It started the first 10 days of the season when you lost your ace, Shane Bieber, to arm surgery. Triston McKenzie, who's been battling a partially torn UCL, has been up and more down this year and got demoted. Logan Allen has, he's got the guts of a burglar, but he hasn't performed. He got sent down as well. Did you, when those two guys got sent down as healthy arms in a rotation that's been fighting it all year, did you have a chance to talk to them before they left for Columbus?
No, sadly I didn't have a chance to talk to them. It's always tough when you lose one of your brothers that, cares so much that, those guys have been working so hard all year to help us win ball games, and they've helped us win ball games. And the tough part about this business is, when you're winning games, they're gonna, there's whether you're winning or losing, there's a microscope on you. When you're winning, they're gonna figure out ways why you're winning. When you're losing, they're gonna figure out ways why you're losing. And on that note, like, okay, we're winning, and then why aren't we winning more? And that magnifying glass is gonna show some things that might not show on an average team or a below average team, where you might get a better opportunity to go perform the way that you have been. But when it's on a first place winning team, the standards are higher and it can be more difficult to stay in the big leagues. I came up on a not very good San Diego Padres team with a lot of players that weren't performing very well, including myself. But we all kept getting a lot of opportunities because we weren't winning ball games. And it was that like, okay, like we're just growing, we're going to get them their experience, their exposure, and they're going to grow and they're going to learn how to be great big leaguers. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year. And we're talking maybe 3-4 years down the line. And that's a lot of time to play with. And Cleveland in the past has been in some of those situations where guys have gotten some really good opportunities because of wins and losses. But when you have the best record in the AL and you're winning as much as we are and trying to win a World Series, it's harder to keep an opportunity if you're not performing like a first place caliber player. So it's tough. But once again, it's the reality of the business. And luckily for us here in Cleveland, we have just a plethora of amazing human beings and talented baseball players that, which is what it takes to win a World Series. It's not the 26 dudes that make the team. It's going to be more like 55, 60 plus guys that contribute to a World Series. And you don't know what that team's going to look like in September, October, especially compared to April. And you can already see it with our team. We have a lot of the same guys, but there's plenty of new guys that are helping us win ball games. And that's only going to continue to happen. So, once again, you got to kind of move on and, whenever let those guys kind of work their way back. And whenever they're back, they're going to be welcomed with open arms, ready to help us win ball games again.
Maybe you can help us understand. A lot of baseball fans have seen Triston McKenzie when he's been really good. And then last year, I think he only pitched 4 games or whatever it was because of the injury. You caught him when he was at his best. You have now caught him at a point where he's been asked to go kind of rediscover himself in the minor leagues. What is the difference?
It's getting hurt, man. What happened to him last year was so difficult to bounce back from. And then to come in and basically just pitch on a normal schedule, kind of as if he's just, had been healthy for all of last year. And so all of this year has just been getting him back to getting healthy. And I think he's finally he's starting to really feel healthy again. And so he started throwing harder. His stuff became crisper, sharper, but the command kind of was lost there, where I think he was so focused on moving well, throwing harder, getting his stuff back, that the command got a little bit out of whack and the delivery got out of whack. And once again, when you're on a first place ball club, you don't just get to work on getting your delivery back at the big league level. So it's okay. And honestly, it's probably going to be one of the greatest things for Triston. Whenever he goes down, whenever he's in AAA, he's going to work on his mechanics. He's going to clean that up. And whenever that stuff gets repeatable again, he's right back to being top line rotation for us. I mean, this is one of the better pitchers I've ever caught in my life. This is no knock on Shane, and I know Shane could hear this, but when we were in 22, Triston was arguably our best pitcher going into the playoffs. And Shane's arguably the best pitcher I've ever caught and might be the best pitcher in the world, in my opinion. But Triston in 22, going into play Tampa, play the Yankees in the playoffs, he was the guy that was pitching the best. That was the most lights out at that moment. So it's like, man, dude, 2 years ago, you were honestly basically a 1 for a great team, trying to make a deep run into the playoffs. Like, that's in there. And when we get him back, when he cleans it back up, we're going to get another top of the line rotation arm, because that's what he is. And so I think this is all going to be really good for him. I know it's going to be really hard. It's very hard to overcome, but like almost anything in life, once you overcome that hardship, you look back on it, later in your life as this great blessing. And I think it's going to end up being a great blessing for him, and he's going to bounce back, stronger than ever.
I know how much the organization respects you, what you do for this team, and also your thought process behind the plate. Have they come to you and say, do we need another starting pitcher, or do they leave you out of this? And if so, if they haven't, what is your opinion? Does this team need to get going before the deadline?
We do a little talking. They don't necessarily lean on me for any moves like that, but I've had casual discussions just talking about picking our front office's brain about where their thoughts are, just because I'm kind of curious, and I feel like I'm kind of at the point in my career where I just asked to just fill me in a little bit, just in case because the last thing you want to do is lose the clubhouse. Just see like, okay, does this make sense for the clubhouse? I know we're trying to make moves. So I can kind of be like a mediator for that a little bit. And we've had some discussions, but nothing real serious. But I don't know, man. When you're out there winning as much as we are, you don't necessarily feel like you have to go do anything. But at the same time, there's momentum in this game, and a thing in momentum can happen off the field. And even a small move or a couple small moves, whatever they're feeling like, there could be a momentum move that shows the boys who are out there trying to go win a World Series that, like, okay, everybody's on board. Everybody wants to do this. They realize like we could use a little bit more depth. Let's go get it. And this is with the intent of winning a World Series. Anything that looks like it's with the intent of winning right now, that's the stuff that we're fighting for, and that's the stuff that we want to see. So yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see what they do. I feel like they could do something. But at the same time, if we don't, I have all the faith in the world that we can still go out and win ball games.
You have been traded twice during the season. It is not easy. For the next 2 weeks, for us as baseball fans, it's fun, right? I mean, you either have the excitement of maybe getting a player or you end up losing a guy, but maybe getting somebody for the future you can be excited about. As a guy who has to live this, what were those 2 years like last year when you were with the Pirates, and then in 2020 when you got shipped in the Clevenger deal from San Diego to Cleveland? Is it unnerving? Do you have trouble? What is it like as a human being?
The first time it happened when I got traded to Cleveland from San Diego, it was the most shocking thing ever. I thought I was going to play my whole career in San Diego. I thought this is where I was supposed to be. It didn't. I didn't think it was possible to get traded. And then, right in the middle of a fantasy football draft, the Padres trade for 2 catchers, and I'm like, well, I think I can see the writing on the wall. It seems like something's going to happen. And then the next day got traded. That one was tough just because I had only known playing at home, living at home. My parents come into every game. Like, it was honestly, it was too easy. It was too good to be true. And I kind of took that for granted a little bit, thinking this is just what the big leagues is like. And then I realized 0.1% of people actually live in their own home during the baseball season. And there's a little more grind to it. But then last year in Pittsburgh, you were kind of part of that journey with me. It seemed like there was a bunch of things about me getting traded. Obviously, Pittsburgh had 2 young catchers that they wanted to play. And there was a chance I could go, back somebody up on a winning team. And it seemed like there was a handful of teams kind of in on, making me a part of that role that I ended up being for Texas. And that was honestly kind of exciting because I had a great time in Pittsburgh. But it was kind of like time to pass the baton there and let those young guys do their thing. And then also, for me, it's like, do I have an opportunity to go win? All I want to do, at this point is win, whatever role that means. So it was exciting last year, especially going to a team that, I'd played against already. I knew how good that Texas team was. I knew that was going to be a pretty cool ballpark to go play in. I knew some of the guys too. So it was 2 different kind of experiences, one a little bit more excited than the other.
All right. So take me back to 2020, this was the COVID year, so the schedule had been pushed back. So you were in a fantasy football draft when you were like, oh man, I might be on the move?
I was the commissioner of the fantasy football draft. I was running the whole draft for the team. Making, putting all the picks up, this and that, then trying to do my team. And then maybe 3 rounds in, it was a bunch of the guys, we traded so many guys, throughout this draft, 5 or 6 dudes were hugging each other goodbye. Okay, with the next pick, oh, Ty France. Okay, bye, Ty. Good to see you. And then everyone, all these trades kept happening. And then they were all for catchers too. And I'm so I looked I forget who my teammate was, but I was like, dude, you got to do this for me. I need to go take care of my life. So someone else started running the draft, we're picking, and I'm talking to the guys. I'm like, hey, why have I not been traded? How am I not in one of these deals? And talking to Preller, and he's like, oh, we still don't know. They still didn't even know they traded for 2 catchers. They didn't know if they were officially going to trade me or not, or at least so they told me. And then later that night, I kind of got more word that hey, something's most definitely going to happen tomorrow. I'm like, all right. And I don't think I slept very well that night. Woke up the next morning to actually got a call from Preller first. That told me hey, we made this move to trade you to Cleveland. And then about 5 minutes later, was on the phone with Chris Antonetti. And then me, Cal Quantrill, and Josh Naylor were on our way to Kansas City to meet the boys out there.
What is that like when you get traded for the first time and you and Naylor? I mean, Naylor had been through it as a young guy from Miami. Cal had been drafted by the Padres, just like you, a high draft pick. What was that conversation like? Do you remember it?
It was weird. I think one thing that helped was, both of them being from Toronto area, they moved way closer to home. So, it ended up being a good opportunity for all of us. I think it was probably harder on me playing there for a lot longer, being from there. But Cal knew he was going to have a job in the rotation. Nails knew he was going to have an opportunity to go play some first base, outfield, have a better opportunity to play. So it was weird at first, but once we got there, I think all of us just immediately once we got into Cleveland's clubhouse, we're like, this is a good group. This is a group that cares about each other. This is a group that wins. Obviously you got Terry Francona, like he wasn't there at the time, but obviously it was still like the kind of the club that he built. And the team was in first place. The team was winning. That was a feeling that none of us had ever had before. I feel like all those hard feelings, those all went away within a couple days. It was like, oh man, like this is a first place club. Like let's go out and try and win this thing a little bit. And there ain't nothing more fun than trying to win ball games. Not just winning it, just feeling like you got a shot to go do something special.
So now this is interesting timing for our conversation because you are welcoming your old team, your original team, the San Diego Padres, into Cleveland this weekend. Is there still any, I'm not going to say animosity because you had a really good time out there, and I can't imagine there's too many guys that you actually played with that are still on the 26-man roster that you'll see over the next 3 days. But is there, I don't know, a spark, a fire when you go against them?
No, man. No, it's all my guys are all gone for the most part. I only know a couple guys over there. Even the coaching staff, they're all gone. So it's just another game. I think it'd be more fun to go play in San Diego. That'd probably be a bigger deal. Played enough ball games there. Obviously, it's beautiful. Like it'll feel like home. But them coming into Cleveland is honestly, it's just a really good team coming in that we're going to need to try and beat. I know they're back over 500, and they're a deep, good ball club. You get Xander Bogaerts back. That's a big deal. So we're in for a tough series, and that's really all it is to me.
Got it. I am talking to Austin Hedges, catcher of the Cleveland Guardians. Occasionally, you have had to be pitcher of the Cleveland Guardians. That happened right before the All-Star break in a series in Detroit. Just want to say 2 scoreless innings, aided by a remarkable home run saving catch by Angel Martinez, who's kind of a new outfielder, if you will. Did you think it was gone when it left the bat?
No, I did that on purpose. I was trying to get my boys some defensive runs saved.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Had Tyler Freeman turn a nice double play. Just I'm just a giver out there, man. I'm just trying to get everybody involved. Keep the boys active. Career numbers down to a 3.1 ERA if you're into that. So yeah, there we go. Good job, Angel.
By the way, look how much you're sweating there.
Dude. That's like nothing. That's a 1 out of 10. That's basically a clean jersey.
Yeah. Look at how happy you are.
Thanks for pointing that out.
That's all right. Come on.
How ugly is David Fry's glove on my hand, by the way? Look at that thing. It looks like he got that thing out of Cooperstown that was like Babe Ruth's old mitt.
Are your hands that big? Because that's a lot of meat sticking out of that leather.
They must be. I mean, I got some big mitts, but I mean that's an ugly glove, David. I mean that's All-Star David Fry's glove that's on my hand, and I feel like we're gonna need to get him a new glove. What do you say, Rosey? I mean that's just come on now, guy.
Well, my guess is that in the All-Star gift basket, they probably left him a new glove, so you get to go through the whole thing and see what's in there. Break
I
one
hope
in.
so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I'll keep that thing. I'll use that as my shitty little pitcher's glove, and then he should be using something a little bit more show. Don't you think?
Yes, that is a rough look. That's just way too much hedgy here. It's like when you show off your little bare midriff on the on the midsection, except it's the hand version of hedgy that we get.
What are you trying to get at right now? Well, you're telling me I got a hairy ass. Now you're talking about my love. Like,
hey, dude, can I just tell you, you look great. Like, I wish I could trim down the way that you have. You look like sometimes when you're up at the plate, I'm like, God, he's looking athletic and sexy.
Those are my 2 favorite things to be called. So yeah, thank you.
First time for everything.
Sometimes it's easy to crush about 14 Bud Lights on a flight, and then it's just right back to the beginning.
I don't think it's Bud Lights. It's Red Bulls, because this is now Kwan took us through the whole like daily routine, and now you throw cans at guys. He said you hit him once. What's going on?
Well, I don't know. I started just chugging a Red Bull before the game, and then I think someone was like, "Dude, you should shotgun it," and I was like, "All right, that'll be fun." And then just started shotgunning it, try and fire the boys up a little bit, and then I always try and throw my can at Craig Albernaz, our bench coach.
Mm-hmm.
and I missed right there, and Sandy Alomar had his head down, and I hit Sandy, kind of like in the head. But let's be real here now, though. Like, that's an empty can. Like, if anybody's ever been hit with an empty can, that's like, it's like getting like tickled by a feather. So like, it's not like it like really hurts. It was, he kind of overreacted a little bit, but sorry, Sandy, I love you. But yeah, now I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious with my throws in case, someone gets hurt.
Yeah, Kwan said you did hit him once, like in the neck or something.
That was that video. That's why I
was that
reacted
one?
like that. That was a genuine reaction because it hit him on the face, and he like held his like face in his hands for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, is this guy like, did I hurt this guy right now? Like, I'll feel real bad. Like, he was fine, but felt bad.
It was the second thing you had to apologize to him for, he told us, because of the when you were on base, he was, I forget it, his hit streak was 17 or 18 games. He nailed a ball up the middle. You thought that Toronto's shortstop had snagged it. You went back to first. Ball was hit so hard to the center fielder, they were able to force you at second. Did you even know that all that stuff had gone down during the game? Yeah.
That was tough. That was like, dude, I'm telling you, that was one of the more embarrassing moments for me on a baseball field. I was like, I mean, I kind of did my job, like froze on the line drive. That's what you're supposed to do. It really it looked like he caught the ball. The ball like barely tipped his glove, I think, too. Mm-hmm. So like it looked like he caught it and didn't want to get doubled off. And then it just takes me about like 8 steps in place before I can actually start running forward. The play wasn't even close. And then in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, like that's not a hit for Steve anymore. And this guy's on a hit streak. He's trying to hit 400. I'm like, in my head, I said, this guy's going to be 1 game shy of breaking the record, and then he's going to hit 399 on the season. It's all going to be my fault.
Dude, you could be a great 30 for 30 story.
No, that would be, then I'm like the freaking Cubs guy.
Bartman?
I can't be Bartman, dude. You can't come back from that.
That was excellent. It was, I wasn't too happy. We were up in New Jersey. We were shooting floorball for John Boy Media, and I was watching on my phone. I was like, oh, great, another hit. And I was like, the hell just happened? I was not happy.
It kind of like stopped a rally, too. Like, it was bad. It was a bad play. And I had just gotten a hit, I think, which I was pretty excited about. So, like, it was like, oh, Austin, nice. You got a hit. And, like, go put your gear on and try and catch now, dude.
That was great. I believe the Guardians are one of the top teams in defensive runs saved. Maybe one, maybe two, but certainly one of the top teams around. I have seen 2 relays now this year, one of which you were involved in recently. Is a relay throw out at home the most excited that you can get as a catcher in the big leagues?
Oh, man, I've never even thought of it that way. It's pretty damn exciting, especially with 2 outs and a big one like that. Like, it's cool because so many guys are involved in the play. You know, the pitcher's excited, I'm excited, the relay man's excited, the outfielder's excited. You know, and when you talk about like defensive runs saved, like some people are like, okay, like how do you quantify that? Like, how do you do that? Honestly, like it's obvious when you clearly prevent a run, right? Like that relay right there, like the difference of that is no runs or 1 run, like a full point. So, you know, those are big plays. Those are differences in games. You know, when you actually like when the difference in, you know, a couple feet of a bang bang play is the difference of going back on offense without giving up a run, or giving up a run and we got to keep making more pitches. Now there's a guy on second base, or maybe there's a guy on third base too. You know, it really changes the game. So it is, it's one of the more exciting plays, that's for sure. Nothing like throwing a guy out though, that's for sure.
Oh, really? That's
Nothing
the one.
like
That's the ego booster.
That's the one. It's hard, man. It's really hard to throw a guy out stealing a bag. It really is. I mean, most bags are the guy gets a good jump. You know, if the pitcher's not quick enough to home, you don't really have a chance. You know, now you only have 3 pickoff moves. So after 2, the guy's going to get a better jump. The bases are bigger. it's hard, man. There's a reason, caught stealing percentages are down. But we've been doing a hell of a job as a pitching staff this year. We've been holding runners on really, really well, and it's definitely helped us win ball games.
What was the happiest you've ever been throwing out a base stealer? Do you remember? Like, was there one guy you got where you're like, oh, that was awesome? I mean, we don't live in the era of Ricky Henderson and Vince Coleman anymore. Or
I got back in the day. I got Billy Hamilton from my knees in Cincinnati, and he came running off the field. And he like tipped his helmet to me, like, you got me, and I was like. And one of the funny story actually. So like going into the series, our manager told me, he's like, hey, it's gonna be tough to throw Billy out. First of all, like, our pitchers don't hold runners on that well, and like it's tough to throw him out. But he does not peek back at the hitter when he steals. He runs with his head down. So he said I should throw the ball up to the infield, pretend like it's a fly ball. They go, I got it. Try to get him to run back, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna get him, man. I'm gonna get him. And it was like first time he goes, he's safe by 10 feet, and he's like, to try it, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna get him. And then, like, just everything happened perfectly. Like, I was like, I'm throwing this from my knees. I got to be quick. And probably best throw I ever made in my life. And that's the one.
I love it. I love it that he tipped his helmet to you. That's
pretty
pretty cool.
He did. He was actually, the funny thing is, he was called safe. And he tipped his helmet and just ran off the field. And then we challenged, and he was out. But, like, he knew. I was like, that's cool.
That's awesome. Guardians had the first pick in the draft for the first time ever, took Travis Bazzana from Oregon State, first Australia player ever to be taken number one, first second baseman ever to be taken number one, I believe. He actually said to Eric Hosmer and Pete Moylan on their show that he wants to help the Guardians in September when the rosters expand. How hard would it be for a guy who was just playing college baseball to get up here with so little time in the minor leagues?
It would be the hardest thing ever, but this kid's special, man. And what I've seen in talking to Kwan about him, this guy has one of those mentalities that seems different. When we were talking about who we're going to take in the draft, and I kept talking to Kwan. Obviously Steve loved him because he's an Oregon State guy. But I'm like, okay, but like, why? Like, what separates him? And everything that he talked about, like, from this guy's makeup, like what he truly cares about, like wanting to be an inspiration to kids in Australia to like grow the game more globally. I'm like, that's different. Okay. And then like you see like decided to like go work out at Driveline instead of play summer ball one year to get his swing going, and then completely revamped, being able to hit for power as like a speed first guy. He's kind of got some tools that what we almost saw it with Wyatt Langford last year. Wyatt Langford wasn't the first overall pick, but that guy flew through the minors and was on the taxi squad throughout all the playoffs. He was, Adolis Garcia gets hurt, Travis Jankowski replaces him. If Jankowski gets hurt, that guy's probably up there with like next man up that might have to go do it. So it's like you just never know, especially with health, with this sport. You never know what's going to happen. But I'll tell you what, when I draft a guy first overall, I don't want him being like, I want to play instructional league in the fall league this year. No, I want him saying, I want to help these boys win in September, October. That's the perfect answer. That's what I'm talking about. And what I've seen, he would be a great fit for our group. So I hope he goes out and hits 500 at every level. And, anybody that can help us win ball games is more than welcome.
That's awesome. Love to hear that. Always great catching up with you, my man. Glad that you had a nice break. Sorry that your travel schedule sucked, but now you're back.
Matters.
Let's go win some ball games in the second half and keep this thing rolling.
Go win a World Series. Why not?
I can tell you this. It's been a lot of fun to watch. You know how I am. I'm always I'm not like stepping full throttle because this is what happens when you're a Cleveland fan. But it's been a great few months in the Rose household. So thank you so far.
You got it. We'll keep it going, Rosey. We will.
I appreciate it. Shout out to our producer, Robbie Scirocco, always puts it together here on the ones and twos. Our intern, Tommy Young, as well. That is Austin Hedges, who made it through an entire show without sweating through his jersey. Thank you so much. I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.